Welcome to the hashtag R6 Prepares podcast. I'm Bill Bischoff, FEMA Region 6 Community Preparedness Officer, and we're going to be talking about community preparedness matters that affect Region 6 states and tribal nations, Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Texas, and the tribal nations therein. We hope you enjoy the show. Welcome to the hashtag R6 Prepares podcast of Buffy Waldie, and I should say welcome back to the hashtag R6 Prepares podcast, Buffy Waldie, of Mart High School and Mart Teen CERT. We're telling you this very late, and you've already been told in 2021, but we're already in 2022. But this is just to kind of cover your winning the FEMA Region 6 Community Preparedness Working Group's Youth Preparedness Award for the Community Preparedness Awards. So that's a mouthful. But it's not the first time you've heard it, because if I'm not mistaken, you won this same award last year. You're a repeat winner.
Yes, we are.
Well, congratulations again, and it's also not the first time. We've done a podcast before based on your winning it last year or the year before, we can now say, and so you and Mart High School have been there before nationally. With the what was it, 2016, 17 individual and community preparedness awards, national preparedness award. So your program has long been strong and continues to rock and roll. So thank you for joining us. Tell me, where are you going right now? What are you doing right now? We'll get into what you've done over the last year, but what's Mart Teen CERT doing right now?
Right now, we are hosting several vaccination clinics for COVID-19. Our next one is actually tomorrow. So our girls, I have a class of girls this year. They're working with McLennan County Health, and we help. They can't give the vaccines, but they do all the sign-ins, crowd control, things like that. Answer questions and get everybody vaccinated. That's our big goal this year. Goodness gracious.
You know, when I want to say last year, we really started focusing on, is there something that CERT has to do with vaccination or with testing or with anything that deals with COVID, because COVID has been the big story for all of us. And it just amazes me that it's in the world of Teen CERT that your girls are helping out. How many do you have on your team?
8 this year.
8. Fantastic. And all of them, are they already vaccinated themselves?
Most of them are. A couple of them are a little hesitant, but I think after tomorrow, and as we get more and more involved with what's coming out there with Omicron and all this, that they're more apt to get vaccinated. I think since they're still young, they're a little nervous.
I get it. I'm not still young, and I'm still a little bit nervous, but there does come that point. I'm looking at family members left and right in Arkansas, Texas, and other places, all testing positive just in the last few days for Omicron. So I'm thankful that I've gotten my vaccination and continuing to. You know, everywhere I go, it seems like I'm the masked man. I forgot my mask the other day and ended up pulling a T-shirt up over my head. I think they thought they were being robbed.
Well, you have to do what you have to do. And I sat there and I got my booster shot in front of all my students so they could see me do it. And it didn't matter how much it hurt. I wasn't going to flinch. And so they could see, hey, it's not that bad. And some of them did get it. So that's awesome.
Good. Well, day to day, how does the Mart Teen CERT group go? How does the team work? It seems like there are, just thinking back over the application that I saw, or the nomination for Mart Teen CERT, it just seems like there's training that they give. What kind of training do your Teen CERT members give?
This year so far, they have CPR, not certified, but they've trained CPR and first aid to every student and staff on the campus, grades 7 through 12. And so they were assigned classrooms, had their dummies, and got up there with their PowerPoint presentation that they made, and they taught classes all afternoon one day.
And that got 100% of Mart High School taught in CPR.
Yeah.
And AED.
Yes.
Great.
CPR yeah, first aid, all of it. And they were able to answer some questions about other stuff too. And I think it was good for them to see what their teachers kind of go through every day, trying to keep everyone's attention and keep everyone involved. And from a teacher standpoint, I thought it was excellent.
That is wonderful.
People.
Well, and my experience in watching other teens teach other teens has been that they pay a lot more attention to their peers than they do those of us that are not teens anymore.
Right.
Was that your experience with this? Did it go over real well?
It did. I was really impressed with our students and how my students handled things. And I think the students were more apt to ask them questions than say myself, because they know them a little better. But I think overall it went really well and everyone seemed to have a good time with it. They also had local law enforcement come out and teach the civilian response to active shooter training, as well as Stop the Bleed, all in the same day.
Well, so how did that go? Because one of the first people I interviewed for the hashtag R6 Prepares podcast was a young lady who had been shot in a school shooting in Italy high school. And she, at the time, and I think she joined us at Texas Youth Preparedness Camp there in San Marcos, where you've instructed and taken students through the course as well. But she thought that Teen CERT should be everywhere, and that some sort of training should go on in every high school, every school. So what was the feeling after the training that y'all just took?
I think overall everyone felt a little better. And we have a very secure facility, but knowing what they know now, I think kind of prepares them for what things might be like someday. And they didn't just talk about in the school, but in anywhere you go, about being on the lookout for things that are suspicious and knowing how to treat your basic medical emergencies, because you never know what's going to happen in the future. And I think my CERT kids were actually wanting more training on it. And so I was going to actually see if the DPS would come back out and work with them one-on-one a little bit more.
Excellent. Aren't that your CERT kids are part of the See Something, Say Something campaign? Is that still?
Yeah, that was the whole week. See something, say something. And that's why we had the craze shooting or training, and then went ahead and did all the CPR and all in one week. It was kind of like CERT week. Right.
And just the way you work it, you're teaching CERT year round, or some aspect of CERT to your CERT team. It seems as though, because of your background, you have a background in emergency management services. What is your background?
Let's see, 15 years in EMS. And then I'm the emergency management director for the district.
Okay. So you have arranged for more training through Limestone Medical Center. Can you share what that is?
Our students usually in the spring ride out with Limestone Medical Center in Groesbeck, and they are active observers on the ambulance. So they ride with the crew and they go to the scenes, and they're going to do what everybody tells them to do. So some of them have done CPRs, they've worked accidents, their medical calls, and gotten to see what their skills they learned look like in real life and how it works in real life. And it's such a good experience. And it's made things a little difficult with the coronavirus. They haven't been able to do the ride-outs last year, and I'm hoping they can this year, because it's such good life experience.
Well, it sounds like every bit of it is. I mean, between that training, between the letting them teach the courses in CPR and AED, it just sounds like they're being set up in 14 different ways to succeed as they move into the next phase of their lives. Have you had students, and I'm thinking, I know from our working together in the past, of students that have just been phenomenal, Chandler Villa, Rance, and others that have done wonderful things and have gone on to adult lives. Have you found that any of your students have gone into the emergency management or EMS or teaching based on what they've learned or where they've gotten their start in your class?
Well, I know that, like you said, Chandler and Rance went through EMT school. Grace and Caitlin went through EMT school, and Chandler just graduated college, and Grace is about to. And because of all the experience, Grace got scholarships and things to go to Baylor, and because of all the community service that at her grades and all the involvement she had, led her to get amazing scholarships. I do have a student who just graduated the Fire Academy, so I'm real proud of her. And it does. And a lot of them, I've got some in nursing school right now. One just started. Today is her first day of her last semester of nursing school. So a lot of them go into the nursing and medical field afterwards.
Oh, that's fantastic. How did you get started with how long have you been doing the Teen CERT program there at Mart High School? And for those that do not know or have not listened to this podcast before, Mart High School is a pretty small town outside of the Waco, Texas area. And how long have you been a teacher there?
Let's see. Mart is a town of 2,200 people in McLennan County, Texas. I have been in Mart for 17 years. And I think we've been doing CERT 8 or 9 years now. I'm the Spanish teacher. I was the health teacher, and then that kind of led into CERT curriculum.
And when you picked it up, I would imagine it was as simple as let's try doing Teen CERT, and then it just turned into other things. So when you started, you were probably more by the curriculum and saying, or just by the CERT curriculum, I would guess. And then as you saw the opportunities arise, you just kind of followed it along and made the program your own.
Exactly. We started off with the basics. We met for a few minutes every morning. And then the next year it was a class. And then every year since then, it's been a class. And we're able to do a lot more stuff that way.
It just seems to be that the most successful programs stay attached to the schools. We at FEMA Region 6 have worked with our state program managers for years with the idea that we would have youth preparedness councils, and that has shown some success. And in some places, we've seen it thrive, but in other places, not so much, depending upon who's there and what they're running, and then if they go someplace else. But where we see ongoing and continued success is right where you are. You have it right there at the school. It's programmed year in, year out. It's going to be there next year. And we've seen that with you. We've seen it with your colleague, Jackie Usselton at Westlake High School in the Austin area. It just seems like that's the way to go. One of the things, though, that also impresses me is how you're able to work within the high school structure and then reach out every which direction and find success and ways. You just mentioned working with the DPS folks, the Department of Public Safety folks. I know that you've worked with McLennan County emergency management folks. I know you've worked with the Heart of Texas Council of Government there that covers a number of the counties there in your area. Texas Association of Regional Councils of Government, who runs the CERT program for the state. I know you've worked over at Texas Youth Preparedness Camp with the Texas School Safety Center, and you've of course worked with us at the regional, the FEMA Region 6 Community Preparedness or Youth Preparedness Program, and most recently, I've seen that you've been involved with or nominated and I believe have accepted some sort of subject matter expert position on the board of the National CERT Association. What's that?
Yeah, that's exciting. I'm really excited to be with the National CERT Association and be on the board. And I'm their subject matter expert for youth preparedness. And so I'm hoping we can bring ideas to the table and kind of expand on those ideas and share them with other programs around the country and kind of expand the youth preparedness, because that's where all preparedness aspects are going to come from in the future, is the youth.
Absolutely. We see it every which direction. And that's kind of been the focus for us in FEMA Region 6, and hence our great partnership with you. I want to circle back one more time. Well, before I circle back, that we're having the National CERT Conference. It's going to be in August in Galveston. Are you going to be able to make that? And do you think any of your team will be able to make it?
Yes, that is the plan, is that we're all going to go, kind of be involved and kind of hopefully showcase what we can do and put them to work, let them see how the adult side work, because they're, a couple of them are going to graduate here and they need to know how to work with adults and spend some time with them. And it's going to be exciting. They're looking forward to it.
Excellent. Now, circling back again to the training and what they, not only do they conduct training and they're getting trained year round, but can you give another example, I guess, of what that training does? Because they're able to serve both inside the school and then outside. Can you give an example of what that training has meant in real time, real life situations?
Well, we've had students with seizures and breathing difficulties and accidents and things. And usually when that happens, I'm the one they call, but my CERT kids tend to take over. And by the time I get to the classroom or the gym, they've got it handled. And I'm thinking, well, you don't even need me anymore. So they're able to take all those skills and use them. And they've used them at home and at places of work. It helps them get jobs because they can say, yes, I know CPR. Yes, I know how to do first aid, that kind of thing.
Fantastic. If somebody is interested in starting a Teen CERT program at their school, do you have any suggestions for
them? Make it a class and see if you can, you can make it a class. You're going to go by the FEMA ICS curriculum. And when you bring it to your principals or your admin, you can get through your council of governments, you can get your supplies you need. Your local EMSs will donate things like your bandaging and splinting supplies. And, all the FEMA books and everything, they're online, they're free, they're easy to download. So there's minimal cost if you know how to do it right. And then to have the youth buy-in and kind of tell them ahead of time, if you want to start it in the fall, talk to them in the spring. This is what I want to do. This is what we're going to be doing. And because it's so hands-on, I guarantee they're going to love it. It's so different than sitting in a traditional classroom and all that, because they can be so involved. You really see a kind of a change in them and the school atmosphere, and they're going to want to do it.
Absolutely. And I would imagine that you're seeing more and more support over the years based on all these awards you've won. It's become an institution. I would imagine your school expects the program to continue.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Very good. Well, Buffy, congratulations again on winning the 2021 FEMA Region 6 Youth Preparedness Award. And just know that we're so thankful for your partnership year in, year out. You help us every time we have somebody knock on our door saying, how do we get a successful Teen CERT program going in a school? We always just go, hey, you're going to be talking to Buffy here shortly. So thank you for your willingness always to support the program, not only at Mart, but across Texas and across the FEMA region. And you are so appreciated for your work and the work of Mart Teen CERT. Thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you in Galveston, if not before.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
That about does it for this episode. We'd like to thank Laura Brown from Arkansas Tech University's Emergency Management Program for her assistance editing this podcast. And we'd like you, the listener, to give us a like if you're so inclined, and share us with somebody else that might want to help prepare their community. Until next time, take care of you and yours.